Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is March 2nd. Welcome to ASAP in the morning. I'm joined by Jay and Chris. Jay, how you feeling today?
Everything is good, man. Honestly, you know, no issues, no weather, no complaints. It's a nice day to talk some sports. Still enjoying this nice warm weather. Chris, I'm sure you're probably still cold. I don't know, but it's still sunny and warm here in Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chris, how you feeling, bro?
Oh, I'm feeling good. We're actually been in the 60s the last couple of days here, so it's been about perfect here because there hasn't been no wind. Actually, can go out in the porch and get out of the house for a few minutes.
That's actually. I'm glad you guys are good temp wise. It's Fredward. I hate you so much. Me and Freddie got into it yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we got into it. What do you think? What do you think me and Freddie argued about yesterday? What do you think?
Lakers?
Yep. It's
like a one-track pony. It's always about the Lakers, you know. And I guarantee you there was probably some LeBron and some Russ thrown in there.
Get out of my head. Get out of my head, Jay. We got a packed show for you guys. With each passing day, we find out Mr. Manfred hates sport of baseball for some unknown reason. Brooklyn is in the play-in. They do have a quality team, but are we kind of expecting too much for them to make a deep playoff run? Plus NFL, I'm gonna list a couple quarterbacks for you guys, and I want you to tell me whether or not you think they are legitimate starters in the NFL. But before that, we're in March. March is known for what, gentlemen? Does anyone know what March is known for?
March Madness. Is it that or St. Patty's Day? What did I miss? Did I miss something?
No. I'm not for that. Yo, he was like, "What's the argument? Lakers are terrible." End of story. Just like so direct. You're right, yo. I apologize. Do not hit me. I get hit enough already. Do not hit me. Please don't hit me. But yeah, Jay, you said it. March Madness. So, figure we might as well look at some of the rankings. So the top 25 right now, according to the AP poll: Gonzaga 1, Arizona 2, Baylor 3, Duke 4, Auburn 5, Kansas 6, Kentucky 7th, Purdue 8th, Providence 9th, Wisconsin 10th, Villanova 11th, Texas Tech 12th, Tennessee 13th. Houston and Arkansas are both tied for 14th. Let that make sense. USC 16th. 17th UCLA, 18th UConn, 19th St. Mary's, 20th Illinois, 21st Texas, 22 Murray State, 23 Ohio State, 24 Iowa, and 25 Alabama. So I think it was Saturday, right, where the top 6 lost.
Yeah.
Right. So I was telling Chris, I was talking to Chris about this a little earlier. Jay, I can't remember if you were there because I think you might have been doing your stuff. But here's the thing that I was a little bit confused about. I was confused on why Arizona and Gonzaga were unaffected by it, while Auburn dropped 2. Kansas dropped the spot. Purdue dropped 4, which I feel bad for them. I was confused. I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Then I looked into it, and Gonzaga had like an 11-game winning streak, I think it was. And Arizona, I think, had like a 8 or 9-game winning streak before they lost. So when I saw that, I was like, all right, cool. This makes some sense. But Jay, Purdue dropped 4, so they went from 4th to 8. Is that being a little too harsh on them?
I meant to ask you earlier when we were in pre-show. Who was it that Purdue played when they lost?
Michigan.
Michigan, and Michigan was ranked what, like number?
Oh, I'm sorry. They played Michigan State.
Yeah, I know that, but where was Michigan State ranked at?
I don't know. They were unranked.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're unranked.
Yeah, and so I think strength of. I don't want to go by strength of schedule, but at the same time, if you look at number one, which is I think is Gonzaga at 23-4,
24-3.
Excuse me, had 24-3, and then you got Purdue at 25-4. If you look at the strength of schedule, everything is so tight that it doesn't take much, like we was talking about earlier, to knock you from 1 to 5. So it doesn't shock me, only for the fact that they lost to an unranked team, and everything is within a half a game difference between first and fifth. So, I mean, it is what it is. They'll be back up there. You can't really get too crazy right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for them because Michigan State isn't ranked. They're still a tough team.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like Michigan State is a team that no matter who you play, you have to respect them. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about how like 24-5, that's Purdue. Well, the Michigan is 19-9. Like you know what I mean? Like they're 19-9, and also. It's not like they, you know what I mean? This is not like a bottom feeder team that gets, that gets just dusted every single time. You know what I mean? Like, so for instance, when they lost to Michigan, that's a 3-point game. They lost to Illinois, that's a 4-point game. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Northwestern 2-point game.
And
you know what I mean? So
Michigan
it's
State,
like
Michigan State was ranked 10th going into Saturday before they lost to Northwestern.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like
where was St. Because look, what I'm surprised about is Gonzaga losing to St. Mary's. I know Gonzaga and St. Mary's have had a tough rivalry, but at the same time, where was St. Mary's ranked? Because I was surprised Gonzaga didn't at least slip down 1 or 2 spots.
3.
Okay.
Right. It's like 20 because right now they're 19th and they went up 4 spots.
Okay.
So if I'm doing my math right, yes, 23. Yeah. They were 23rd when they beat Gonzaga, which again, St. Mary's, that's another tough team.
It is, right.
You know what I mean? Like, and granted, it's not what it's people usually don't. When you mention tough teams, people don't say St. Mary's. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Nobody said. I'm not trying to be mean, but no one really mentioned them, which is weird because if we're gonna be honest, this year has been the definition of a grind for St. Mary's.
Right.
It's literally been the definition of a grind. This is they have how many lost? 6,
and they're usually
have not lost back to back. What happened, Chris?
So St. Mary's is usually always a pretty consistent team.
Right. Yeah, they're very consistent. And again, they haven't lost back to back, which, should matter. But I think for me, what kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, just a little bit. And this is just, me being me. It's just hilarious how Alabama's 25th. And they're still getting all this love and admiration as if it's college football. I'll never understand it. I never will. Never will understand it. Never will. Like they're 25th. And by the way, they barely edged out Boise State for that 25th spot. Just do with that information as you will. Because the other teams that receive votes to be in the top 25, Boise State, and it's in this order. Boise State, Davidson, Colorado State, South Dakota State, Notre Dame, LSU, Michigan State, San Diego State, Marquette, Iowa State, North Texas, Vermont, and Northern Iowa. So let Alabama slip up. Let them slip up, and Boise State's going to end up taking their spot.
A lot of them teams have a lot better record than what Alabama does.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. It really is, and again, for those and I do like what they do and for college because they look at your record and then they also have like a backup. So it's like your point system. You know what I mean? Like how many points you scored, which Gonzaga at 1,500 just makes me laugh in a very special way. Because then the person, like the team with the second highest, is as it just happens to be Arizona with 1360. So it's like 100 plus for Gonzaga. And then it's just funny because if you look at the gap between them and Alabama, it's just so huge. By the way, I would know nothing about huge, so it's not out there. Ding. But it's but Jay, you said something very interesting earlier about Duke and Coach K.
Yeah.
Please pose that question.
Yeah, so my question is, since we had that historic losing weekend of the top 6 teams, and Duke has now slid up to the number 4 in the rankings, and Auburn is actually at number 5. Of course, Gonzaga is still at number 1, and so forth. And I believe Arizona is in there, and Baylor is in there in terms of your top 4. So you got your top 4 is Gonzaga, Arizona, Baylor, Duke. Can Duke now, given this is Coach K's final run, and the fact that Duke is still playing pretty well, and they're at the number 4 spot, can this now open the door for them to actually go all the way and win and have Coach K go out with a national championship? I think it's possible for myself. I think Duke can actually do it. It's still going to take a lot of things to happen, but I think Duke has a really good shot at it.
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, I think Duke will make maybe a pretty good run in the NCAA tournament, but I don't know if they'll be able to beat Baylor or Gonzaga. And I even think Auburn's getting overlooked a little bit. I think Auburn has got moved down a lot further than what they should have got moved down.
100%. And mind you, Auburn moving down, I get it, I really do, but I just feel like for Auburn and Purdue, like them, if they were to lose on Saturday and Gonzaga and Arizona didn't lose, I don't think we're blowing it this much out of proportion.
Yeah.
I just think it's just the fact that it's history. Like the top 6 teams all lost on the same day. First time that ever happened. I think that's why Auburn and Purdue all of a sudden are looked at as, oh yeah, they're not good. Like I don't know what it is. Like all season, everyone was like, look, Gonzaga, obviously they're number 1. But again, from 2 to 8, 2 to 6, you kind of got to be like, ooh, pay attention to them. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, now they're treating it like college football, where like in college football, we were thinking, oh yeah, it's either Alabama or Georgia. Now they're doing the same thing here, saying it's Gonzaga and Arizona. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it to an extent, but if we're going to crucify Auburn and Purdue for losing on Saturday, it's only fair we do the same thing in Gonzaga and Arizona.
Yeah.
Like we need to do the same thing. To answer your point, to answer your question, Jay, I don't think Duke wins it this year.
Okay.
I don't. However, I'm with Chris. I do think they make a deep playoff run. I think it's enough for you to actually look at them and actually give them a legitimate chance.
Right.
I think they'll make enough noise where eventually you're gonna start having to take a step back and go, hold on. Like, and again, I hope Duke wins. Because, that's just the perfect end to the career of the greatest collegiate basketball coach in the history of the NCAA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be cool to see him walk out with the national championship.
Yeah, let him listen. Here's what I want him to do. I want him to cut the net, and then I want him to just fling that thing in the air, just like fling it. And then after that, I want him to catch it. And then when they give him a mic, be like, by the way, I hated this job since the inception. F all of you. Coach K out. And then I just want him to just leave. Like that's just like that. Like
I got a question for you guys. With the Big Ten teams, do you think the physical style of play and the way they beat up on each other during the conference season, do you think that hurts them teams like Purdue and some of them teams going into the tournament? Because the Big Ten, they bang on each other. I mean, them games are physical.
They do. I mean, and it's funny because you said that earlier. Those games are personal.
Yeah.
Like the physicality is legit, and I just think it's obviously because they're in the Big Ten. When you're playing somebody in your conference, it always means more than if you play someone out of your conference.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
like obviously
Yeah,
you want
right.
to win. You know what I mean? But when they're out of your conference, it just, not to say it doesn't feel the same, but it's just like teams play the last place team in their conference harder than the first place team in any other conference. Like, it's just wild.
This is just because of the rivalries, though, too.
That's why I really think it's just when you're playing a team in your conference, you wanna say this is my conference. Like, the Big Ten goes through me. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it does hurt them in a way, but not physically. I think it's like the mental thing, at least where I'm coming from, because when you're playing somebody, unless you're a team that just doesn't care, like for instance, like Duke, they're usually consistent, right? And they're like, doesn't matter who we play, but again, that just comes from the coaching, right? So It's like, if you're in a situation where you have good coaching, a great coaching staff and great leadership, where you play every game the same way, sure. But when you start looking at like other teams out there, it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, they're not in our conference. All right, cool. If we win, we win. We lose, we lose. I think that's when it could hurt you, especially when you're in March Madness. I think that's really where it could rear its ugly head. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, yes, I think it hurts them a little bit, but not physically. I just think the way they approach the games, I think that's where more of the damage is coming from.
Yeah, I kind of see where Pride's coming from. I just think with the rivalry games, like he's saying, it's personal. And anytime something's personal, if you lose that personal game, it does kind of weigh on you. And even psychologically, it kind of weighs on you, especially when you're getting ready to go into March Madness, right? And when you start losing games and stuff, it hurts. Number one, it can hurt their rankings. But number two, I think it hurts their psyche as well. So, I mean, I understand where Pride's coming from. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but it's definitely not a good thing to lose going right before March Madness.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, again, some people might disagree with me and think that it doesn't matter. Like to Jay's point, that's one of those weird, like what the question Chris asked. It's one of those weird questions because in my eyes, I think it's more of the mental thing.
Right.
For somebody else, they might think that physical brand of play could either hurt them in terms of physically, or if they go in the NCAA tournament and they're playing a finesse team and all of a sudden it looks like they're flinging them around and the refs are just calling crazy, crazy fouls. Right. Other people might think it doesn't faze them at all and it won't bother them whatsoever. So it's one of those weird questions where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, like if I were to ask you Mason Rudolph is dog shit, right? We would all say yes because he's not good, right? Like that's a clear-cut answer. The answer Chris asked, it's weird because it's like every answer is right and none is wrong. And that's kind of like the weird thing about it. Which is like, you know what I mean? Like it's just so weird.
Question is damn questions. Your privileges are revoked, Chris. No more questions.
I agree with you guys. I think it can drain you mentally some and physically some.
Yeah.
No, it definitely can. So Damien says, question: if NCAA basketball and all the other sports have tournaments like March Madness and it's working for them, why doesn't college football do the same instead of this playoff? Okay, well, it's tricky because you got to remember, since it's basketball, you could play theoretically 5 times a week. You can theoretically do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's 60? Isn't it like 68 or something like that? Right? Because isn't there like 4 extra teams or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? It's something like that. But officially, it's like 64 teams.
Yeah, and then they do like a couple playing games.
That's where I'm getting the 68 from. It's like they have a few play-in games where on a technicality they made it, but
you got to win a game to officially get in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like the NBA playing, right? Like you're playing team, it kind of counts, but at the same time,
the bubble watch game.
It's weird. So and at the same time, when it comes to college, look, I think the college should expand their playoffs to the size of the NCAA. No. Because think about it, you can only play once a week. So that's
it's just feasibly impossible to play, that type of schedule.
I mean,
I think maybe like 8 or 12.
Yeah, like 8. I think that's
8 is the right number. I think
what I would do, I would start with 8 and then see how that goes. And then if you need more, then we'll throw a couple more in there. You know what I mean? But it would just make more sense. You know what I mean? Because now it's like the rankings kind of make a little bit more sense. I don't know if you guys were here when I was making my rant, but I've never understood the top 25 for college football.
Right.
I never understood it because why would you do a top 25 if only 4 teams are making it?
Right.
You know,
exactly.
like for me,
it should be like a top 5. Like, who's your top 5?
Yeah, for me, it should be like a top 5. It should be your top 5 team, your top 4 teams, and then like a bubble team, like a team that's like that. Oh yeah, if they play well and the 4th team plays awful, whatever the case may be, then we could switch them. I've never understood the top 25.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they try to hype it up like, oh yeah, you want to be in here, but it's like, okay, but why?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
no, it is.
That's
why I think playing 8 teams makes sense to me, because it gives you the four for sure teams. It gives you 2 teams on the bubble, and then it gives you 2 teams that could possibly be the Cinderella team. You know.
Right. Yeah, so
but you really don't want anything more than that, because then it just gets kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, like I would start with 8 and then see, and then let's say if 8 still doesn't feel like enough, then 12. You know.
And then but the only problem, I agree with you guys. 8's probably about perfect, but then it's eventually going to turn into the same thing as now, where the 9 and 10 teams are complaining that they're not getting in. But but you can't go a lot more than you really can't go a lot more than 8 or 12 for another, like you said.
No, I think for me, 12
for competitive.
Yeah, like for me, 12 is the highest you should go. You should not consider anything over 12. You should not.
You don't see as many upsets in football as you do in college basketball and March Madness.
So for me, if we're talking college football, I start with 8. I think 8 is going to be fine. I think that would work.
Yep.
But let's say for some reason you want more. If you go anything over 12, you might as well just let every program in the nation make the playoffs. There might as well be no regular season, and just be like, all right, so here's what we're doing.
See, that's what kind of makes college football special, is that one loss can ruin your season's done competing for a national championship or being in the playoffs. So it makes all them regular season games mean a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really would. And on top of that, because you know how the committee, they kind of they always want to try to find certain teams to, give them an edge or whatever to try to get them in the playoffs. Now, if Alabama loses 3 times, now instead of being like, oh, we got to find an excuse to put them at 1, put them at 7. They're still in. Now, okay, we're helping you. We're helping. But now, you know what I mean? Like, if Georgia has 4 losses, just put them at 8th and they're in. You're fine.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing it now, a lot of these bowl games don't even really mean nothing anymore, because a lot of players don't even play in the bowl games anymore.
Because there's
now they're opting out.
Yep.
Yeah, there's one called like the Route 66 Bowl, and it's like, hold on, time. I'm here to watch a bowl game, not directions to get back home.
I remember years ago when the bowl games were always real big games.
But you know what? Hey, let me ask you this. This is one thing I never understood. I get the whole opting out. I get that, because players want to protect their draft status. They don't want to get hurt in a game that doesn't really pay them money, even though now we have the NIL. And people do get, they do get the sponsors, but at the same time, they don't really want to give up their whole career for a game. So if you're opting out of bowl games, they should be opting out of the NC or the national championship. But we don't see them really opting out of the national championship as much as we do bowl games, which is really weird to me, because even if you get into the national championship, you're not getting paid money just like a bowl game. So you would think it'd be the same.
I think for me, the way I look at it, which, by the way, the whole opting out, I'm not a fan of. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of it. But I just think what they're looking at is risk and reward. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm playing at the Citrus Bowl why should I care? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the Tostinos Bowl. Like I'm playing football. Why you got to remind me what I ate and then pooped out last night? Like once you start looking at the important games, like how you get there doesn't really matter. Like let me if we could parlay to like the NFL, if there like a lot of guys would probably opt out of the wild card round, right? They probably would, right? However, and again, this is just the example. I understand they get paid, but I'm just saying, let's say they weren't getting paid, they would opt out of the wild card. But if their team were to make it to, let's say, the NFC Championship game, there's less of a chance they're going to opt out. Because it's like, hold on now. We're one game away from the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And then when you actually get to the Super Bowl, they're not gonna want to opt out, period. Because it's more like a risk and reward. At least that's how I'm thinking about it. It's like a risk and reward type of thing where, like, yeah, could I get hurt? Sure. But imagine if I could become a national champion. Just imagine that. You know what I mean? Again, how many times has a national champion that alone boosted up a guy's stock to the point that they would have originally have been a second, third round pick. They win the national championship, and all of a sudden they're a first round pick.
But I guess the point is though is when they're playing, like you said, to your point, when they're playing like in a like this, let's say the Route 66 Bowl. Yeah, I mean, you're really gambling a lot on a game that really has no meaning, right? And you're doing it, but your primary reason for doing it is because you don't want to get hurt on a game that doesn't mean anything. I get that. Right. But when you go to the national championship, your gambling is still pretty damn high because you're gambling that you're going to win the national championship and not get hurt. And what if you lose the national championship and you get hurt and your draft stock goes down? I mean, there's still a lot to lose in terms of potential earnings outside of college. Let's be honest. Some of these players need the NFL for their income because a lot of them probably don't necessarily
they bank on it.
They don't necessarily have degrees that are really worth anything.
A lot of them
have somebody else doing their work for them, so they're just skating by. So
a lot of them do. They either take this is the majority of them. They either just do general studies, or they do they get their degree in mass communications. So that way, after they finish playing, they could be like the Ryan Clarks. They could be like the Drew Brees or Peyton Mannings, where now their job is to just talk about sports. You know what I mean? So they usually would go one of those two routes. But I do before I let you go, Chris. 'Cause I know you wanted to say something, but this is kind of what I mean by it, Jay. It's still high risk, but it is high reward because remember, the Heisman, only one man can win that. Only one player can win that. What's the next best thing that a player would want other than the Heisman? National championship. That could make a redshirt freshman. That could make him all of a sudden look like the next big thing. You know what I mean? Like a national championship.
Yeah, right.
Potentially made. Like imagine if Ole Miss won it, Matt Corral all of a sudden will be the hottest thing going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
won it, I get that.
Kenny Pickett, everyone will be drooling over him. You know what I mean?
So, and that's what I'm saying. To your point, I can see if you're,
but the reward is there too.
Look how much. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. If you were a star, then you have a lot to lose. But if you're not a star, if you're like just that guy trying to get into something, then I can see why it would be perfectly fine not to opt out. But if you're like a big time star, like a Waddle or like a Jalen Hurts or I don't know, something like that, then I can see why they would opt out. It would be better for them to opt out because their draft stock is already high enough to get them into the NFL, and you don't want to risk that on a trophy. I mean, honestly, it's a trophy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, I
was going to say that the high reward is also with look at a guy like Joe Burrow. Look how much more eyes was on him after the way he performed in that national championship game. Yeah, they were talking about him all season because of his season, but he even got more respect from the way he got hurt, came back, and won that game.
Yep.
I don't like the opting out of the bowl games, but I understand why guys do it.
Right.
Oh, I don't like it either. I like to watch
There's a
competitive
risk.
games.
You play all the regular season games, and there's a risk you could get hurt there and make your draft stock go down. So I mean, there's a risk with every game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, there's no debate. There's definitely a risk with every game. So, it really it's again, it's one of those weird things where
I don't
for
care
some
for it,
reason-
but I understand why they do it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Listen, because here's the thing, I would always
out
say if
millions of dollars of contract. I might not play either.
exactly, because the thing is, as a viewer, I want to see them play, right?
Right.
But as a player, I can say, "Oh yeah, I'd play every game." You put me in that position, hey, coach, my knee ain't feeling so good, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit out. You feel me? So
Let me ask you a question, Chris.
So-
And let me ask you a question. If you're a parent, right? Let's say you're a parent and you come from extremely humble. Let's just be honest. You come from the worst of worst, right? Like you come from like extremely humble beginnings, right? And you know your son is like, okay, he possibly can make it academically, but maybe he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, or maybe he doesn't have it academically to do that kind of thing. But man, can he ball out? And this dude's in college, and his draft stock is high as crap, and he's in his sophomore year, and it's time for him to go to the NFL. But yet there's a national championship, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, hey son, hey, it's your dad speaking to you, man. Listen, guy. Listen, me and your mom, man. God,
Chris, he's like, all right, listen here, guy. All right, like, Dad.
Listen here, guy. Look, me and your mom, we ain't got all the money in the world, and if you get hurt playing for the national championship, I get it. You're gonna get a nice shiny trophy, and it's gonna look all nice on the mantle, this, that, there. But let me tell you something. If you get hurt, you're gonna bring that little trophy right back to these humble beginnings, and we're all gonna be living in dirt poverty. And I don't care about that damn trophy. You might want to think about sitting this one out. Let's go get us some real money and get ourselves up on out of here.
And the thing is, because I think you said it, that if you're not a standout dude, you know what I mean? Like this is like something you actually need to consider.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that
I get that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think you said it, Jay. Either you or I almost called you Charles. Chris. One of you guys had said it. But here's also, because you brought up something interesting that when it comes to this stuff, we don't really talk about a lot. Their families. Like some of these dudes, I mean, I get it. It's not football, but John Morant, he went like when he declared for the draft, he wasn't really looked at the way we look at him now. But he said, look, man, they asked him why, like, if you do one more year, maybe you'll be hyped up. He was like, look, man, I got a kid. He's like, I got a little one that she needs to eat. And in order for her to eat, I got to get money. And I'm trying to get money through the NBA. You know what I mean? And not only that, on the other side of the family coin, like you said, Jay, some guys, they're not, maybe some of these guys aren't the richest in the world. You know what I mean? Their life goal is to make sure mom and dad don't got to, or grandma or auntie don't got to work no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they had that conversation. Look, you can do this. You could play. But what if you get hurt and your career is over before you really get the chance to even start? Like, those are probably conversations they're having. Like, I'll be honest. If I'm in that situation, I'll probably go to my I am a cornball. All right. I'm silly. So I'll go to my fiance. I'll be like, babe, what do you think I should do? And I'll be like this. This is how you know I'm BSing you. But if you're ever talking, I do this. I'm not really listening. I'm BSing you. I'm telling you right now. If I do,
I'm gonna start remembering that now. Now when I see you do that.
If I do this, I'm listening. If I do this, I'm not listening. I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll tell you when I'm not, and it's listening. I'll ask my fiance, what do you think I should do? And I'll just look, give her this. You think I should play? All right. Hey, coach, I tore my ACL. I'm done. Okay. Like, that's probably how some of these dudes really are thinking. Like, because like I said, as a viewer, I'm with you, Jay. I want to see these dudes ball out. But the thing is, I cannot promise my mentality would be the same if I was the player. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't say whether or not, I would have that same thought process, because my thought process when I'm in college, no disrespect, I don't care about college. You feel me? I don't care. You feel me? I don't care who I'm playing for. Like what? Wait, hold on, Tom. You think Ohio State is in my blood? Nah, B. You know what's trying to be, what I'm trying to have in my blood? Green. You feel me? I want green. You feel me? I don't bleed purple. I don't care about LSU. I'm trying to bleed green. You feel me? And if you ain't giving me this green, guess what? I'm gonna go over to greener pastures, and that's professional. That's where I'm trying to go.
I think that as a parent, you'd have to, I mean, that'd be a conversation you'd have to sit down and have with your kid if they were a top guy. Like, hey, you can change your whole family's life if you get hurt. Then, I mean, that's a big deal. But do you think the name and likeness deal in college football, you think that's going to change some of the players' mentality, since some of them is going to be being able to make good money while they're playing college football off their name and likeness stuff?
It won't make a difference. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the guys who are going to opt out are the guys who are already made it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it. The guys who are opting out, you're not going to see the third cornerback on the depth chart sit out. You're not going to see him. No. You feel me? You're not going to see the backup guard sit out. Who you're going to see sit out are the big name guys, like the guys who everyone is like drooling over and saying, "Man, we should get him."
The ones that were already getting paid before the name and likeness deal.
Exactly. And with the likeness deal, those are the guys who are going to get paid the most anyway. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like it puts them in this weird. It puts the college football in this weird situation where they are paying these players, which, let's be honest, they're making a badonk zillion dollars. Yeah. They're making more money off of these kids than I can even think to even spend in 3 lifetimes.
And the problem is only a certain percentage of the players are going to get the name and likeness deals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking too, man. It's not like some Joe Schmuck is going to get the NIL sponsor deal. He's over there eating breadcrumbs. He's over there eating breadcrumbs almost. Hey, he's almost hoping that the guy that's ahead of him in the depth chart does opt out so he can get some playing time.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's not going to really help the opting out, because, again,
it's the same players are already opting out.
Exactly. You're paying the players who have I don't want to say no incentive, but have more in their mind, more incentive to sit out than.
You know what, Pride? Let me tell you what I'm going to do. If I'm the guy eating breadcrumbs and I know the guy ahead of me could opt out because he's already made, I'm going to his locker room and I'm hiring 2 thugs and I'm going to say, look, you either opt out or I'm going to break both your kneecaps.
Nah, you know what I'm going to do? No, you know what I would do if I'm a backup. This is what I would do. I would go up to him and be like, "Hey, man, you're great. You're phenomenal. What do you have left to prove?"
Yeah. Why you do the reverse psychology route.
Okay. Yeah, I would go, why? Listen, it's only one game. Everyone in the league is drooling over you. You're going to be a top pick. You're the perfect specimen. Look at you. You're 5'5", 120. You're amazing. Bro, you want a 5'4". You run a 5'40". You're the epitome of perfection. Like, sit out. I would be horrible. Like, if my number 1 receiver was horrible, I'm hyping him up.
Yeah.
I'm hyping him up. I mean, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and be like, yeah, go ahead. Bitch. Yeah. Listen, man. Listen, yo. I'm fighting for my life up here, yo. Like, listen. But again, like, they're going to be paying the dudes who are already going to sit out anyway. So it's like, in terms of the opting out, it's not really going to help anything. Well, maybe it will. Maybe. Because maybe if they do that, I mean, let's be honest, having the big names doesn't necessarily mean that's a problem. Especially when you're talking about the championship games. We're talking about deep teams that we're now being able to see somebody else step up. That's kind of like the other side of the coin when it comes to opting out, Like, it sucks you're not seeing the best receiver, But the second and third receivers, they're not necessarily trash. Maybe, for instance, like in with the Bengals, right? People think Tyler Boyd is trash. He's not trash. He's got to share the spotlight with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, both 1,000-yard receivers. Tyler Boyd, he almost had 900 yards.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of a situation where free the backup guy. By the way, I did say something about Cain Velasquez. I think it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. So more news came out about that. So basically, he was chasing one of the dudes who, I guess, in his child's daycare was, I guess, abusing his child, or allegedly. And he was chasing him. The dude called his dad, and his dad tried to defend him. So Cain Velasquez got mad and kept chasing him. And then the alleged abuser's father is the one who got shot.
Oh, damn.
So if it's true, free Cain. If it's not true, free Cain. I think that's controversial for me to say. I'm saying free Cain regardless. He did it for his kid, free Cain. I don't give a shit. By the way, my views do not reflect on the thoughts and beliefs of ASAP. Let me just
say somewhere in there.
Because, Chris, I'm saying this and I just see Jay McClellan like, whoa, hold on. He's like, whoa, hold on now. Hold on.
I haven't read that whole story yet, so I need to read.
No, Brian, what I'm thinking is Jay was just talking about breaking kneecaps. He didn't say he supported shooting somebody. I don't know. Hey, that's a little far. Watch this. Here's the line. Hey, you're over here now.
What, was he protecting his kid?
So basically, he went to go get his child. This is the story we got so far. Today because he's in California. Today at 12 Pacific time, he's going to go in front of a judge. But what happened was he was informed that his child was being abused. This is where the reports get iffy because some reports say it was physical. Other reports say it was sexual. So basically, but the remaining theme is that his child was being abused. And he approached the dude, and the dude kind of blew him off. And when he did that, Cain was just like, all right, so if you're blowing me off, you did it. So he went up to him, and he was like, all right, cool, whatever. Ended up getting a hold of a gun. While they were arguing, the man called his father. I'm assuming he called his father as to be like, oh, yeah, I would never do that. Ask my dad type of thing or whatever. But then when it was the three of them, things started dissolving and breaking down to the point that Cain Velasquez was actually chasing these two guys. And
how old were the guys?
Thrown out. You said, what happened, Jay?
How old were the guys that did the supposed abuse? How old were they? Were they like teenagers or were they like grown ass men?
If I'm understanding it correctly, they were adults. I have not been able to find anything in terms of age. Hold on, let me see. Because I know it was the father that he ended up shooting. Yeah, now there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing saying on the of the age of the person who was accused.
Right.
So here's the thing with that. I don't know if they're doing it because he's a minor or because at the same time the guy who got shot, like we know it's the father, but they didn't even put out his age either. So I'm not sure if if they don't really know what's going on, etc. But wait, hold on, I just found something else. Hold on. Okay. Okay. All right. So oof. Oh yeah. Oh, that's bad. So yeah, it was okay. So so the dude got charged. Oh my God. Oh yeah, no, 110% free Cain Velasquez. Oh, free Cain Velasquez. So he shot a 43-year-old. Harry Eugene Gualalte. So he hosts a daycare business that his mother runs. And he was charged with one felony count of lewd and lascivious act with a child under 14. And it says it was one of Cain Velasquez's relatives, reportedly his son, but we haven't confirmed that yet. And 110% free Cain Velasquez.
The guy that did the accused guy, he was old enough, obviously. He was in his 40s.
43.
And damn, how old was the dad then?
Must have been older than that.
Yeah, he must have been like in his 60s.
Had to be.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, free Cain Velasquez. What are you gonna do? If you're a grown ass man doing those kinds of things to a kid, yeah, you pretty much probably deserve what you got.
Free Cain Velasquez. That's all I'm gonna say. Free Cain Velasquez. Free Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, I saw it go across the TV screen yesterday, but I hadn't really had a chance to look into it yet. But yeah, I mean,
free Cain Velasquez. Free Cain.
So he goes to court. He goes to court today.
Yes. Today at noon Pacific time. Because he's in California. So it's going to be at noon local time. So they're like, what, 3 hours
Here's
behind
one
him?
thing. How does this dude that was accused of the molestation, how does the judge grant him supervised release?
And guess who he was released to? His mother, who runs the daycare. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's a little suspect. That don't make no sense to me at all. I don't understand any of it.
What I'm gonna say is gonna get us in trouble, but I don't care. Unfortunately, the dude's gonna survive. Unfortunately.
Oh, his dad's gonna survive, huh?
Unfortunately. Free Cain. Free Cain. I don't care what no one says. Got a problem about it, we can fight about it.
Yeah.
Why did he's a former heavyweight champion? What, 2-time? We called him Cardio Cain. Listen, bro, if he could do what he did at JDS in their trilogy fight, you ain't need a gun. You could have beat the bricks off this man.
I was gonna say, yeah, he could have beat the brakes off the guy.
Like, come
Definitely.
on, like Jay. I don't know if you watch MMA at all. Just look up Cain Velasquez, JDS, and my guy's face was looking wicked. It was looking. Matter of fact, hold on, because now I got to prove a point. Because it was.
He started as a pro wrestler in Mexico.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about it. He started that, then he came to MMA, and then when he finished, he went back. He tried to go back into pro wrestling.
Yep.
He tried to go back into pro wrestling. All right, hold on. Okay, here. This is Google, so I can show it. I'm pretty sure I can show it because it's Google. Pretty sure, but whatever. If we get in trouble, we get in trouble. So this man fought Cain Velasquez. This is what he did to him.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I love JDS. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He is phenomenal. Look at this, man. Look at this.
Yeah, he got it pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Look. See this right here, and I love JD. This is the face of a man that needs life alert. That's what this is.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
This is a I've fallen and I can't get up type of look on his face. By the way, all the images are courtesy of Google, Getty Images, and UFC. Like, look at this, man. God damn. So, yeah, this is what this man is capable of. This is what this man is capable of. By the way, Herb Dean, I will never get over how big you are. God damn, what a time. Pause. But yeah, this is Cain Velasquez right here. I'm gonna say it one more time, free Cain. And that was JDS. I think this was their second fight, I think. So this is how he normally looks. And this is how he left them.
Yeah.
This
is Cain was a bad man.
Literally before the murder charges. He literally was a bad man. Like, now he's a bad man on both sides. And it's funny because they used to call him Cardio Cain. Who did he lose to, man? Who did he lose to? I think it was in Mexico City, I think it was. I think it was Verdum. I think it was Fabricio Verdum, where, like, ironically, the reason he lost was because his cardio was bad. It was like, it was funny because as a heavyweight, Jay, this dude's cardio was through the roof.
Yeah.
Right.
But then he went to Mexico City and it was elevated. His opponent had went there weeks prior to get acclimated to it. And Cain Velasquez was like, I don't need that.
He went late.
And he went late. And I think he only spent like about a week there. Or less than that, actually. And like round 2, he's like, and I'm like, hold on, are you having that? Like, what are you doing, bro? It was so scary, bro. It was so crazy.
That was crazy because you never seen Velasquez like that before.
Yeah, that was to my recollection, Chris. You've been around the game longer than me. That is the first and only time I've ever seen Cain Velasquez look like that.
Yeah,
like just drained and exhausted like that. I don't think I've ever seen him like that.
No, that's the only time I've seen him like that.
That's it. So it's like, oh my God. Chris, we got to talk MMA one day. But you be ducking me. See, you be ducking me. Chris Robinson, I'm throwing your full government. You be ducking me. Sis be ducking me now. Like, you feel me? Like, I pulled the Kyrie Irving, took my ball and went home. All of a sudden, nobody want to look at me to say no more. Man, free me. People not ready for this conversation.
Oh.
People not ready for this conversation, though. Listen, I'm not going to get into it. But, Damian, I agree. People not ready for this conversation. That's all I'm saying.
That's probably the first time you and Damian have really agreed on something.
Because you know what it is? You want to know what it really is? I'm convinced of this. I don't think Damian really exists. I don't. I think this is just a fake account made by Jay because he wants to trigger me. Because every time I say something, Damian always disagrees with me. So it's like I'm convinced Damian is just to trigger me. I'm convinced. Let me have a conversation with you guys in terms of the NFL because I'm gonna throw a name out there that is honestly, believe it or not, kind of controversial for some reason. Gardner Minshew. I believe, and I think I'm gonna get some flack for this. I really do. I think Gardner Minshew is a starting quarterback in the NFL. Just think on it. Just think on it. Just don't, before you come at me. Think on it. Just think on it. All right. Have you thought about it?
Oh yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah."
So, I mean, is it really crazy to say that?
I think it is. I think it is a little. It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy. Who if he's going to start for? Who would you have him starting for? That's out there that has openings. I mean,
Washington. I think you can make the argument that he's better than Taylor Heineke. I think you can make that argument. I think you can make the argument. I don't like this argument at all, but I've seen a lot of people make it. In Miami, replacing Tua Tagovailoa. The 49ers. I've seen that, which I'm not mad about it. I've seen Seattle if Russ leaves. If Russ doesn't believing Seattle, same thing with Green Bay. If Aaron Rodgers does whatever Aaron Rodgers wants to do, obviously Pittsburgh, the Giants, because they don't want Daniel Jones anymore. They're probably not going to pick up his 5th year. So that's like what, 5 teams I just named?
Yeah. Man. I think if Gardner Minshew goes to New York, he's definitely plummeting because New York really doesn't have a lot to offer him in the way of protection or even wide receivers to throw the ball to that are healthy and on the field. So New York will be really rough. The other ones I can see you can make a case for. I mean, if you really believe in Gardner Minshew that much, you can make a case for it.
Okay. Because now you're making. Why are you disrespecting Gardner Minshew?
I guess it's just when I watched him in Jacksonville, I mean he kind of came out a little bit hot, and he kind of reminded me of that dude on Eastbound and Down.
Why do you like Gardner Minshew? Chris, do not laugh. Do not encourage. Do not encourage. And look, I'm not saying Gardner Minshew is gonna be a Pro Bowler or anything, but I don't know, man. I think he could be a starter. I really do.
I think Gardner Minshew could be a starter if he was in a porn star movie or something. I mean that's
Jimmy Garoppolo. We're talking about Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
I think he could be a starter. And also, if you look at his numbers, it ain't like he put up terrible numbers in Jacksonville.
But but you're gonna bank those numbers on him, though. I mean, all the intangibles.
But he has 41. He has 41 touchdowns to 12 career interceptions. He has he has 6,000 passing yards, a passer rating of 93.9. So I mean, and he can run the ball though. I hate to say this, but make the comparison to what the Colts had this year with Carson Wentz. Is there a big drop off between that and Minshew?
Oh, man, don't do that now. Don't.
I don't think the Colts.
You got to trigger pride there for a minute.
I don't think the Colts should get rid of Wentz this year. But I mean, I'm asking you. You think Minshew's at that level?
Jay, I've been caught by my own trap. No. Oh, look! I
was waiting for to see what Prime was going to say when you said Wentz. I was like, "Oh, there goes the lip. There goes the lip. The lip is quivering."
And I think the Colts should keep Wentz unless they can get some, or unless they get like Russell Wilson.
I agree too.
If you can get Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, but even then I'd be a little worried about Aaron Rodgers a little bit. But if you can get him, go ahead. If you can get one of those guys, go pop off. Deshaun Watson, if all that stuff clears up. Other than that,
Wentz didn't play bad for the Colts this year. The last two games, they struggled the last 2 games, but it wasn't.
Everybody did outside of Jonathan Taylor.
Line was terrible.
Yes, everybody was. Everybody. At least, But again, nobody will tell you that. They'll just say, "Oh yeah, it was Carson Wentz," but it's like, no, it was everybody. We gotta be fair. I think the only person who didn't play horrible was Jonathan Taylor.
Yep, and it wasn't like Wentz had the best receivers to throw the ball to either.
If we're gonna, like I said, if your best receiver is an old Ty, you gotta upgrade. Now it's not New England's wide receiver room.
Yeah,
no.
But let's be honest. The difference is not night and day. It's not night and day. I like T.Y. Hilton, but at this point, him being your number one, you're in an uncomfortable position where in terms of throwing the ball, you're kind of, I don't want to say you're screwed, but it's not advantageous. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not.
He can't stay healthy long enough to where he can draw that double team anymore to help free up the other guys.
I think T.Y. would be like your number 3 guy on the way out.
Just real quick, you just contradicted yourself. How can you do nothing good but at the same time be a bridge guy? Those two things just don't. They can't be a thing. You can't be a bridge guy if you don't do anything good.
Hey, that's Jay's guys there. That's Jay's guy, that Sander Arroyo.
Arroyo
Yeah, like that's just me. Like if he's a bridge guy, granted, Gardner Minshew's not a franchise dude, but say he does nothing good. That's not even that's to me that's not factual at all. It's not, because in order to be a bridge guy, you got to do something good. You have to. Like Teddy Bridgewater, he's doing something good. Like he's doing enough to prove, okay, yeah, that's a bridge guy. Jared Goff, bridge guy, yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know. For me, when I hear bridge guy, you got to be good at something, because if not, you're not a bridge.
You'd be a backup, not a bridge. You wouldn't be a bridge guy.
Yeah, you'd be a backup, right?
Like a Garoppolo would be a bridge guy to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jimmy G, that he's a bridge guy. Teddy Bridgewater is a bridge guy. As much as I hate to say it, if Tua keeps on this, if Tua doesn't end up, by the end of his rookie contract, if he's not being who he was built up to be, he might be a bridge guy. As much as I love this dude, Baker Mayfield is starting to head towards that route.
Oh yeah,
he's starting to head there quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be a backup in the league before too long.
The Odell Beckham Jr. thing really kind of pushed
I
down.
don't know if he would take a backup job because with his personality and stuff.
Well, I think his personality, I think that's like a double-edged
sword.
I
like Baker because I was a big Baker fan going into.
So was I.
Coming out of
I've
college.
been defending Baker for the longest. I've been defending Baker.
But it's getting to the point. Forever. It's getting harder to defend.
It's so hard. It's so hard. It's getting difficult to defend him. That's what I'm saying. Like he's starting to head towards that. Yep. I'm not gonna say backup, but bridge. I think if he has one more year when he doesn't meet the expectations, I think that's the conversation. As much as it pains me,
you think he'll get say he has struggles this year with Cleveland? Do you think he'll get a chance to start for another team?
Perhaps, because remember, this is his first team, right? This is his only team.
Yeah, his first team.
So people are gonna make the same thing we did with Carson. If he goes elsewhere and we give him time to go elsewhere, can someone else unlock the potential of this dude? So
because you have to look at it. He's went through a lot. He's went through a lot of coaches, a lot of offensive coordinators. It ain't like there's been a lot of consistency over there.
Right. And he was and think about it. He was involved in a team where they were tanking.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like he himself had to play well enough for them to convince, like, oh wait, we actually have some talent here. So
and there's not a whole lot coming in the draft quarterback wise either. So I mean, people are going to be looking for quarterbacks,
right? So I mean, it's a weird situation because I think the Browns should extend Baker, but it's just because you don't have any other option,
right?
Yeah. But the sad part about it is Cleveland willing to give him 4-5-year extension. Is that what they're willing to do?
Right.
At top dollar? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that.
I think they might franchise tag him for a year to like almost like a prove it year before they decide to give him, before they try to give him a big 4 or 5 year extension.
Here's the thing.
You'd be paying him a lot of money on a franchise tag too. Though.
I'm gonna sound like such a Baker hater right now, and it's a shame because I love Baker. I love him. That's my dude. But Baker's the type of dude you can't give him a 1-year prove it deal. You can't.
Yeah.
You need him to have 2 years back to back where he's playing great football, smart, educated football. You need 2 years back to back to get that. You know what I mean? Like you need those 2 years. If you don't get those 2 years, you're gonna have to move on. You're gonna have to, and I think Cleveland is going to enter a position where they're gonna be between a rock and a wall. Because think about it. if they listen, without question, I don't care if you like him or hate him, Baker Mayfield has been the best quarterback that organization has had in a long time.
Yes.
It's been a long time since they had a quarterback that good.
You're right.
So it's like, do we want to go back to the quarterback purgatory we were in?
Yeah. I mean,
You
we're
know what I
talking
mean?
here like they not, but look what he's done. He's won more games in Cleveland than any quarterback has. And I don't know, it's been a long time. I don't know the exact number of years, but you're right. I mean, you look at it that way. He's done for Cleveland standards. He's done pretty good. He just has to keep moving up.
Exactly. But that's kind of where the conversation gets hurt because you said Cleveland standards.
Yeah.
This is an organization.
When you're a number one draft pick, your standards are up here, not down here.
Right.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Right. But at the same time, it's like this is an organization whose standards have done a complete 180.
Yep. Yeah, they're expected to make the playoffs now. You know what I mean? The talent people are projecting them to be in the playoffs.
And that's kind of the sad part about it, because now when he came in his rookie year, there was no pressure. It was just like, go play, go do your thing, right?
Yep.
The pressure has been, gradually getting bigger, but one could make the argument that this year was the most pressure he's ever had in his NFL career so far. You can make that argument. Next year, I think the pressure is going to be even greater.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, next year is his final year. It's his final year. So, like, he needs to play well, then expect to get franchise tagged, and then during that entire franchise tag, play well again.
And let's be honest, man, really, Cleveland was the best shot for Baker. I mean, for him to be able to – they gave him everything he needed. They gave him Odell Beckham. They gave him Jarvis Landry. They gave him a defense. They gave him a running backs. Hell, he had running backs. He had Kareem Hunt and he had Nick Chubb. So – and he had he had everything he needed to for a quarterback to be successful. He had it. And it just didn't work out for him. And, I mean – that's what I'm saying. Change of scenery is not going to do nothing for Baker because Baker's already had everything he needed. So I think,
other than the offensive line,
I mean, where else could he have gone and had all those weapons and a defense?
He's never really had a great offensive line, though.
Yeah, to be honest.
Well, shit, man. Neither did freaking Burrow. But look what Burrow did. I can't compare Burrow to Baker. I get that.
You can't do that because Burrow. Listen, I like Baker and all, but. Oh, you
and you can almost make the same case for Tom
right now, dog. Like Joe Burrow has been Joe Burrow's sensational, man.
But there's a lot of offensive lines that aren't out there great, but quarterbacks have still made it work.
Yep.
Especially when you got a running game and you got a passing game and you got wide receivers for a passing game and you got tight ends and you got a defense.
But like who? Well, first of all, let's be fair here. They didn't have a defense this year.
No, I'm talking about last year.
No. The year that just passed.
I mean, I guess I should say the year. I'm going back to when they had Odell Beckham.
So he's going back 2 years.
Yeah, this would be about 2 years.
Okay. 2 years. Okay. I'm about to say, coming off of last year, if you thought the Ravens had injuries defensively, the Bears were up there with them, or Browns. The Browns were up there with them.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking 2 years ago.
No, I'm talking about he had everything. We had Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. That was the year he had everything he needed to be successful.
But he still didn't have an offensive line. But here's the thing with that. Them getting Odell was their downfall. And I'm going to tell you why. When they went and got Odell, nobody ever had the conversation with Odell that, look, this is your role. Like, we're using you when the play breaks down. Because, listen, when the play breaks down, Odell is one of the best wide receivers to have in that situation. Because not only is he's a solid, he could run routes, but his vision is phenomenal to the point that he could do a quick scan of the field and find the wide open hole where he can run to wherever it may be, whether it's him having to run deeper, whether it's him having to come back, whether it's him staying on the same level and just running lateral. Odell could find that hole. And when it comes to improvising, Baker Mayfield can do that. He's one of the best quarterbacks when it comes to improvisation. As a matter of fact, that's the one thing in his game you cannot criticize. You can't say anything about his improvisation. When the pocket collapses and he's got to be mobile and he's got to run around and make something happen, he makes it happen more times than not.
Yeah, that's true.
The problem with it was no one told Odell, this is your role. No one ever told him anything. They really didn't. It was more along the lines of, all right, guys, we got Odell. Pair him up with Jarvis, Baker. All right, guys, have at it. So they really did. And they all kind of shook hands. It was like, hey, what's up? What's going on?
And it seemed like Baker was trying to force the ball to Odell sometimes.
And that's the thing.
Like he had to throw, like he wanted to make sure he was getting Odell involved.
Right. He was. The problem with that, though, the problem is there were times Odell was in double coverage.
Yep.
And this kind of goes with the fact that they just haven't played with each other enough.
I was about to say, they should have some off-season workouts, and they probably could have got more chemistry.
Oh, yeah, because with him
there were times when Odell's being doubled, and he's like, okay, you know what? I'll just take this attention. And he'll just kind of stop and just run back to the sideline to keep that double team on him. And in his mind, he goes, all right, he's going to Jarvis because Jarvis got a one-on-one. He's got a good break. All right, cool. And then all of a sudden, Baker's throwing it to OBJ. And OBJ's like, oh, wait, hold on. What's going on? Like the entire tenure, they never were on the same page.
I thought
I don't blame Baker for the failure in Cleveland.
I thought Landry and OBJ, them two together, was going to work out a whole lot better than what it did.
I don't blame Baker, and I don't blame Odell. I just if I believe if you got to blame someone, I think you got to start with that coaching staff because
everybody has to know their role.
Right. You're not telling Odell why you brought him in. When you brought him in, they thought, oh, yeah, he's a nice guy who, when the play breaks down, we can rely on him. Odell was brought in as like, all right, Ben, I guess I'm the number one or number two. I guess we'll figure out as games go. Like, they were on two completely different pages.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I really blame.
It's working out beautifully because when he went there, Sean McVay told him, listen, this is what we expect of you. And this is what you're going to do. This is your role.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Like in your role, this is the bare minimum you're going to get. And then if you end up getting more, great. But I'm telling you, this is the plan we have for you. Now, if the plan changes, we promise we'll let you know. But we're having communication. They never did that with OBJ in Cleveland, which kind of put them in this weird situation where they had to figure it out. But again, when they would figure it out, they wouldn't be in practice trying to be like, all right, so Odell, we got Jarvis. Jarvis is our number one. Okay, we'll get you some touches. We'll give you about 5 receptions a game. Most of those are gonna, we'll run it. We'll have a couple plays ran specifically for you. We're gonna have 2-3 plays where you're the number one receiver. And then obviously, when the play breaks down and you see Baker scrambling, guess what? Well, no matter what the play is, you're now the X. You're now number one, regardless. Or you're the 5, whatever they want to call the number one receiver. You're our guy. That's you. They never told him that. So I just think Odell came into a situation where he thought one thing, Baker thought something different. The head coaching staff was forget being on the same page, forget being on the same book. Especially they were in the same library. Like they were off. And Jarvis was just like, aren't we a run-first team? Like, we're a run-first team. We just got Austin Hooper. We got David Njoku. Like, why are we doing this again? Like, it was
true, though. That's true, though. You're right. You're right.
For me,
going
to Cleveland never made sense.
But you know what, though, Pride, though? I think that's 50% the coaching, like you said, for not communicating to Odell. Yeah. But I also think the other 50% of that equation has got to be on Odell and Baker for not – and Jarvis for not saying, okay, look, let's have some OTAs. I mean, some off-season OTAs. Let's just get together. Let's throw the ball around. Let's figure this out, and we'll go from there. So, I mean, I think you got to put 50% on either on both sides of the equation.
This is
This
is how I'm doing it.
Because if Baker's a leader, he's going to pull Odell. He's going to pull Landry in the offseason and say, hey, look, guys, we just brought him in. Let's have some time together. Let's get this shit figured out, and let's go to war.
And here's how I would divide the blame. And let me know if you guys agree with me. 60% has to go to management. Because not only did they, when you're training for a guy like Odell, they should have been the first ones to call him and tell him.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at this roster, knowing you're run first. Why would you go get a wide receiver? Especially when you already had a wide receiver and you have 2 tight ends who not only are great, but they're great at blocking. Well, Njoku's good at blocking. Austin Hooper, but you can also line them out as receivers and they can do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I put 60% on management. And then the other 40, I split that in half. 20 to the coaching staff, because if management didn't do it, you need to do it. But also to your point, Jay, we need to put 20% on Baker, Odell, and Jarvis. Because again, those 3 guys are your leaders. If they themselves see this ain't working out, they need to be able to grab each other, sit each other down, and even out in the offseason on a bye week and say, look, this isn't working. Let's figure out why it's not working. Odell, when you came here, what did you expect? Okay. Jarvis, when we got Odell, what did you expect? Okay. This is what I expected. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Let's open the playbook. Okay. Of the playbook, we got 70% run plays. So what does that tell us? So we're a run first team. Okay. So your touches are not going to get cut. All right. So of these plays, look, Baker or Odell, which one of these plays do you like? Like, which one of these plays resonate with you in a special way where you enjoyed a lot? These 4? Okay. So here's what we'll do. Those 4, your plays, I want you to memorize them. You're going to be the number 1 target there. Jarvis, you already know the playbook. So I want you to look at these 4 plays as well, because you're going to be the number 2, and we're going to have you run short, right? Or run long. Whatever route Odell wants, you're going to get the opposite route. So that way, if he's double team, whatever, we'll go to you. Okay. We'll do it like that. When things break down. But mind you, how long have I been talking for? What, about a minute? Minute, right? Okay, cool. Let's just make sure we keep track of that. Odell, when the play breaks down, you're my number 1 guy. You know how to read the field, so we'll figure it out. Go from there. Here's some ground rules. When you're double team, I'm not throwing the ball to you. Period. Don't just give up on the play. But when you're double team, just go to the sideline and try to keep them away. Okay? Same for you, Odell. Same for you, Jarvis. 30-minute conversation, and all that could have been fixed.
Absolutely. I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
but like you said, to your point, those conversations should have had before Odell even ever got there.
Yeah.
They should have already been talking to Baker.
Before ever stepped foot on the field.
Yep.
But again,
the whole nine.
But again, to your point, Jay, those 3 guys are supposed to be your leaders, though.
Exactly.
So if the conversation didn't go through,
then they should have had that conversation.
They still should be able, like, if for some reason 3 of us can't coexist for some reason, right? If we're not working out, we go to Freddie, right? And then if it doesn't work with Freddie, we go to Jay, right?
Yeah.
Right. And if it doesn't work, if it's still not solved, then the 3 of us need to sit down and have a conversation and say, all right, look, this is what's going wrong. This is my point. ABC. Jay gives me QRS. Chris goes XYZ, right? And then we address it and then try to move forward. Cleveland never did that.
Yeah. Because you don't think that like a guy like Tom Brady doesn't have those types of conversations with his wideouts and things like that. He's all over that stuff like white on rice paper.
Oh, yeah. Before they ever hit the field, he'd have that taken care of.
Right. But that's what leaders do. That's what real leaders do, is they have those conversations without you even having to tell them these are the conversations, because they have that competitive fire and they want everybody to be on the right page. And they put a lot of preparation into their jobs, which I don't think Baker puts that much preparation, not like what he does, But that's what you got to do to be a real leader.
Yeah, you do. And it's a shame. Really, I'll be honest, if they were on the same page, what they could have had in Cleveland could have been special. But
yeah, they could have been. Absolutely.
Things are hard. So in MLB news, after 16 hours, the players said, quote, and by the way, I can't remember who tweeted this, but this is the exact tweet. They deleted it. at MLB, suck my nuts. That was their tweet. I've been trying to find it since. I cannot find it. I think it got deleted. But the MLB then came out and they were like, so yeah, the first two the regular season series for every team has been canceled. So Jay,
That's what, 6 or 7 games for each team, 3 or 4 game series. So
Yeah,
I think
it's roughly about that. Yeah,
It's because I if I'm not mistaken, I think some of the players do 4 and then 3, and I think then the other half does the opposite, 3 then 4.
okay.
I think. So I mean, at most, it's 8 games being canceled,
Yep.
and then at the minimum, probably 6. Because usually it's at least a 3-game stand.
Yeah, it's usually a 3-game series, at least a 3-game series.
Yeah, at least a 3-game series, and then it's the same team rematching at home. For the most, well, at least that's how it's supposed to go. So Robert Manfred was like, "Yeah, we're canceling." By the way, when the players voted against this, it was unanimously against the new CBA. They voted unanimously. Wasn't even close. There was nobody defended the MLB. Nothing. They did the vote, and when they were like, "Yo, anybody agreed?" Not a single soul moved. So, Chris, let me ask you something. I think this is a conversation that people are a little nervous to have. Is this the beginning of the end of the Robert Manfred era as him being commissioner in the MLB?
I think it should be, because I think this is almost the beginning of the end of Major League Baseball with this strike, especially if they lose a lot of the season. Look what the 94 strike done to baseball, and how long it took baseball to even recover from that and make a decent comeback. I don't even think they ever got back to what they were before that strike. And then now you have another strike, and I hate to see the strike, but I like that the players are finally standing together to try to get what they want. Because a lot of times you have a lot of players that end up having to go back because of money and other. I mean, everybody has their own situations, so it is nice to see that the players are standing together in this. But I think could be the beginning. I think Manfred should be gone. I think that would fix. I think that is a big problem. Some of the comments he's made, calling the trophy piece of metal, and just some of the way he's handled the COVID stuff, and now this strike. I think he should be gone. But baseball better be careful, because this could be the beginning of the end for baseball, for Major League Baseball anyway.
I've been saying this about him for a while now. Robert Manfred does not care about baseball. I think everybody had an inclination of it, but they either A, never had full evidence of it, or B, wasn't comfortable enough saying the commissioner does not like the sport of which he's supposed to commission.
Yeah.
And I've seen people say this is selfish on the player's part. When I hear people say that, that informs me that not only you don't watch baseball, not only do you not understand baseball, but you're just so unequivocally out of touch that people like you should not watch baseball. And again, Jay, Chris, I say this all the time, and I mean it. With all due disrespect, you're a moron. Of course, I mean it with the lowest amount of respect possible. If I can give you negative respect, I would. True story.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, baseball's been behind the times in terms of taking care of its players for a really, really long time, like a long time. And I'm not even just talking about the ones that play in the major leagues. I'm talking about the ones that play in the minor leagues too. I mean, it's almost damn near – it's sad. It's sad when you got dudes living out of their cars, when you got dudes trying to find out how they're going to get food, how they're going to make the bills. They got to play alternate jobs because they can't. What they're making in the MLB or even in the minor farm league system isn't enough to even. I mean, you can't. I mean, listen. There's people at Walmart that make more money than MLB players in the farm system. I mean, it just is, and that to me is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, the players absolutely have a right for everything they're trying to fight for, and these owners need to come up and start giving in on some of this stuff because, it's stuff that should have changed in baseball at least a decade ago, to be honest with you. So, I mean, absolutely, I think Manfred, I agree with you. I don't think he gives a damn about baseball, at least not to the level that a commissioner should. So, I think Manfred probably. I think his time is time to go, and I think Major League Baseball ownership needs to start, saying, we do care about our players and give back to the players because it is kind of sad the way they're treating them in the financial aspect of the game.
Yeah, and they've already lost a lot of some of their minor league systems. I mean, there's some of the teams never didn't come back from COVID.
Right. Absolutely. And the current way in which we're going, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if more farm systems collapse because, like you said, because of the lockout, they can't play games either, I don't think, right? Maybe, like the farm systems, can they still play?
No, they can. They can. I think
they can.
They're separate.
Okay. So the minor league teams can play. Okay.
So they can. But where it's a little tricky is if they'll be able to. It's very convoluted. The best I can understand it is that they can, but if they come across financial problems, usually they would go to their MLB affiliate to kind of have them bail them out. Because of this lockout, they can't.
Okay.
So
They're basically on their own.
Yeah. So if they were to go through something like, let's say, coronavirus has like a reemergence and they got to shut down again, they're on their own, which basically would mean they're shutting down. And if they shut down, who knows if they'll be able to get back up until after the entire lockout is solved. Based on how I've read it.
Right. So even though they may be able to play financially, it could have put them out of being able to play.
Right.
And you got these players that then the minor leagues aren't making nothing anyway. So they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to go get other jobs, and they're going to have to make a decision if they even want to try minor league baseball again when it does come back.
Right.
Or they're going to have to consider going to Japan.
Or Korea. Or Korea. Like that.
That's the conversation. That's something they might have to heavily consider.
I'm not lying. I'm going straight to Japan because I know Japan pays pretty good to their baseball players. And so I'm going to go play down there for a while until y'all figure this out.
And
contact my agent.
In Japan, the MLB still keeps an eye on it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Contact my agent. Let me know what happens.
Right. So it's just.
And you see some players come out of the Korean league that go to MLB as well.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And let's be honest, in Korea, it's a little bit cheaper to live than it is in Japan. So maybe Korea is not a bad option. It's not a bad option at all. So. But I think Japan, you're going to have a little bit better competition, though.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
No, you would.
Yep.
You would definitely have more competition. So for me, the way I look at it, MLB is in those weird situation. A lot of the players who voted, one being Anthony Rizzo, said, "Look, sacrifices must be made. We're doing this today, so that you know what I mean." There were like his tweet was. To the fans, will miss you guys. To the next generation, this is for you. So, like, these guys are actually willing to say, F it. We're not letting y'all get away with this exploitation. Because that's really what it is.
Right.
That's really what it is. And to each their own. We'll see how it ends up. I think this move puts a lot of pressure on the owners. And I think it puts an immense amount of pressure because now that they're seeing, and again, it was unanimous. It's not like one or two guys voted. So that way the owners can go to those guys and say, hey, look, you want to play here. Come on. It was unanimous. Not a single soul agreed to the new CBA. Not a single one of them. And with that unity, it should scare the owners. It really should, because now they're in a position where it's like, man, Now we're all losing money. Now
Yeah.
we're officially losing money. Like now it's legit. Like, you know what I mean? Like before it was a possibility. Now that we are, it's like, where do we go from here? And there's only really one place you can go. There's only one. Just shut up, swallow your pride, no pun intended, and be able to, you know, figure it out and give something up. You're gonna have to give something up. You don't have a choice at this point.
Right.
It's if they want to save baseball, but you know, according to some people, baseball doesn't need to be saved.
And the longer this strike goes, I think it hurts the owners in baseball even more because look how long look how long it took them to come back from the last strike in '94. I don't even know if they ever came fully back. And then you're now this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's crazy, man.
Especially
It really
after the way the owners handled the COVID situation and stuff too, with all the back and forth that took to even get that season going.
Nah, bro, COVID doesn't exist. COVID doesn't exist. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine being that dumb? Could you imagine? Final topic I want to bring up to you guys. So the Brooklyn Nets, 32-31 right now. They're in the play-in. They're the 8th seed. They're on a 2-game losing streak. Obviously, we know they're not fully healthy, right? This is the rest of their schedule. This is the rest of it, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 games, right? 19 games. At home against Miami, at Boston, at Charlotte, at Philly, home against New York, at Orlando, home against Dallas, Portland, and Utah, then at Memphis in Miami, then home against Charlotte, Detroit, and Milwaukee, at Atlanta, home versus Houston, at New York, at home versus Cleveland, and then they end the season at home against Indy. Do you think we're putting too much pressure on this Brooklyn Nets team to make it to the playoffs this year? I'm sorry with you, Jay.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, they have pressure, right? I mean, you got Durant's got pressure to come back healthy. Simmons has pressure to come back in April and not be the mental case he was when he left in Philadelphia. And then Irving has pressure to perform at the highest level when he can play, which is on away games. So I think if they want to go deep in the playoffs, there is a lot of pressure for them to come and be able to perform together at a high level. And I think personally it can work, but I still want to see all three of them on the court together to get that comfortable, warm, fuzzy feeling that this is the team. Absolutely. So I do think there is a lot of pressure on them to be successful. But again, they're in the 8th seed, so I don't know. I mean, hey, they should be playing most of their games away, so they should have Irving there. So maybe that's a blessing in disguise for them, right?
And I think if it wasn't for injuries, that they'd be higher than the 8th seed for sure.
Of course, absolutely.
But I think a lot of
be number 1 or number 2.
A lot of it's going to come down to whether, like you said, is Simmons coming back, and what Simmons are we going to get, and then Irving, because I thought that he might have a chance where he's going to get to play home games, but what Jay was telling me last night is he can come and sit on the bench with the team, but he can't play. That's ridiculous.
Well, he has an injury. He also has an injury. His back. Because he's been carrying the 76ers dog shit franchise for a while now. So
no, I mean yeah, but I mean on Irving, Irving, they're saying he can sit on the bench and watch the game with his teammates, but he can't play. How much sense does that make?
Well, I think the reason they're doing that now is I think now they're starting to. I think the Nets are kind of seeing how far they can go, especially considering now they're thinking about removing that mandate. So I think says is at the tail end of it, I think now they're you know what I mean. They're trying to say, oh yeah, could we kind of start them a few games before the mandate's over and not get in trouble? At least that's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Like if I was running Brooklyn, that's what I would do. If I know the vaccine's about to end, and
if they end that mandate and they have
desperate.
Irving full time and they get Simmons back healthy, and Durant healthy, Nets are going to be a tough out. Because I think they got better with the Simmons trade by getting Simmons and Curry and Drummond. I think they got better.
Me too. By the way, real quick, before we forget, Steve, for the Cardinals have extended head coach Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim. They're both under contract through the 2027 season. Yeah, a lot of Cardinals fans on Twitter are triggered right now.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be pissed.
Did the Cardinals did they ever respond to Kyler Murray's and his agent when they put out there that their contract proposal?
Yeah, their response was, "We will talk about him about that."
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, but we're gonna go ahead and extend Kingsbury and the GM.
Yeah, they were like, "Yeah, we'll talk to you about it." We'll talk to you about it. By the way, also, there's mutual interest in finding a new home for Russell Westbrook. Not only do the Lakers want to trade him, but Russ also would like to leave LA. Pressure's too much. Game got too hard. I love it here. I love it here. I love it here. I really do. I love it here. I really do. I love it here. I'm so petty. So petty. Maybe it's this question. Does it sound crazy to say that I don't think Kyrie Irving really wants to play basketball at all? Because let's be real, he started all this way before the pandemic. He had, and listen, when I say that, people get mad at me. Let's remember, the bubble, he loved the bubble. He was all for the bubble until the league said, hold on, time out, you're injured. We can't be having randoms in here and you come and go as you please. Then all of a sudden, the bubble was a bad idea. Before Corona was a thing, this dude wanted out of Cleveland, which, let's be honest, was the best situation for him. And the dude threatened season-ending surgery.
Yeah.
He threatened season-ending surgery. He's done this stuff before. He has. And I'm not going to go as far as to say that he doesn't want to play basketball. But I've been saying this forever, and everyone gets mad. He's what I call a pick-me. That's what he is. Yeah. Have you guys ever been in a group chat, and it's just that one person that always blows up the phone? Nobody answers him because he's annoying. The stuff he says just is like, who cares? Nobody wants to have a conversation with you. Why are you talking? Go back to the basement. Like, he'll put up a meme and go, hey, isn't this funny? And it's like, we don't care. That's what Kyrie Irving is. He's a pick-me. He tries to do anything he possibly can for attention.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Every single time it's for attention. That's all it really comes down to.
And some of the teams that he's been on lately have performed better when he's been gone.
I mean, let's be honest. Without Kyrie, Brooklyn was looking fine. Brooklyn hasn't looked bad until they lost KD.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, a healthy KD on this team, without Kyrie, a healthy KD, you can make an argument that this team looks nice. You can make that argument.
Especially if Simmons gets back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you this right now, bro. When Ben Simmons comes back, he's gonna be in a situation where he's gonna be in a good situation. He's gonna be in a great one where there's no extra stuff that you know what I mean. There's no extra stuff that they're gonna have him do. There's no, oh my God, you gotta do. Nope, ain't no extra. It's like, yo, Ben, this is what you need to do. Go out and do it. We're not gonna blame you if we lose. Okay, it's not solely your fault. We're not gonna ignore everyone else's flaws. Are you gonna take responsibility? Yes, 110%. You will. You're gonna have to take responsibility, which I don't think Ben Simmons has any problem with. Problem is, if you sit here and pretend like it's just his fault. You know,
Right.
Ben Simmons doesn't have a jump shot, right? Same thing.
That's true. He does not.
He doesn't have a jump shot, and he struggles at the free throw line.
Hell, he struggles making a layup sometimes.
So I'm not going to justify any of that. Outside of that, you cannot say he can't play basketball. You can't.
Yeah, he can defend. He can rebound. He can facilitate.
He can do everything. He can do everything else. You know. So I don't like this casual take that all of a sudden Ben Simmons, and I don't like this thing either where Ben Simmons sits out. Oh, he's weak-minded. Kyrie Irving sits out. He's a martyr. He's leading the new generation.
Yeah, I get it.
Where's the consistency?
I get it.
Where's the consistency?
I guess Kyrie Irving gets a little bit of a pass just because he's a good shooter, and I guess whatever. But it's still the same situation. I don't like Kyrie Irving either. I mean, honestly, he's too inconsistent. He's barely there half the time. I wouldn't want him on my team. I don't care. I don't care how good he can shoot or handle the ball.
I'm telling you, I've seen it, bro. He was on my team. Without him, we reached the Eastern Conference Finals. He came back and we looked horrible.
Because their chemistry was off.
It's like he messes up the chemistry of the team.
It's here's the thing. For me, it's not even just that. What it is he's got this.
He wants to be the reason they win.
Right. Like he's and I'm gonna sound messed up when I say this. I might sound like a bitter Celtics fan, but if anyone knows basketball, you know this. Kyrie Irving is not a great player. He's a really, really good one. A great player can put the team on his back, right?
Right.
Like Kevin Durant, that's a great player.
Yep.
LeBron James, great player. Steph, it's a great player, right? Kyrie can't do it. He can't. He's not on that level.
Right.
The problem is that 85 to 90% of the NBA community understands he's not that guy. Now, guy is clutch and he can hoop, no debate. But he's not on that upper echelon. He's not.
Right.
That's just reality. Let's say 85, right? 85% of the NBA community understands that. The problem is that 15% are morons who can't spell basketball, don't know how to dribble, have never watched a game before, think Kyrie Irving can literally be the best player on a championship team. And then that feeds Kyrie because Kyrie doesn't listen to the people who say, bro, look, logically speaking, unfortunately, you can be the number 2, sure, but you can't be the best, bro. Like, unfortunately, you just don't have that skill set. He hears that and thinks they're haters. And then he listens to the 15% that, again, can't spell basketball. He listens to the 15% that if you ask them, hold on, what makes your team great, goes, oh, because my team is my team. Like, that's who Kyrie Irving listens to. Kyrie Irving is like Jerry Jones. I don't mean to be mean to your Cowboys, Jay, but like
I'm about to say, come on, man, damn.
No, I'm not trying to be mean, but what I mean by it is when the community, when a lot of the NFL community says Dallas isn't going to win, Jerry Jones listens to the people who tells him what he wants to hear. He doesn't listen to like the people who go, look, man, these are the holes. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't listen to that. You know, he just goes, yep, you see, I got these 5 people here. Like, this 10% is telling me we gonna win. So that's who I concern myself with. Kyrie Irving is that same way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when it comes to shoot him in the foot is like, because again, he had an opportunity to be the number 1 guy.
Right.
And what did that bring him? Nothing. Because again, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals without him. The next year, if I'm not mistaken, we got bounced in the first round with him.
Right.
He then goes to Brooklyn. That first year, he was in Brooklyn when KD was injured. He could have done it. But what happened? It got so hard, he asked the team to shut him down.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, Kyrie Irving can dribble a ball, so he good at F. Like, Again, I'm not saying Kyrie Irving sucks. He's a hooper. He really is. He could hoop. But again, trying to sit here and pretend that he's this phenomenal all-time great player that everyone would no, stop. Stop it. Get some help.
Yep.
He's had opportunities to prove he's that guy. And unfortunately, he's done the exact opposite. He's proved to you that he's not a number one guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he's had his best successes when he was the number 2.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. There's a lot of great players. I mean, a lot of great players are number 2 or 2s. You have to be a certain kind of leader to be a 1.
Right. And my thing is, it's okay to be like that. Where it's a problem is when you don't accept that.
You don't recognize it. Yeah.
When you don't accept that, it puts you in a position where now, it puts you in a position where now you look dumb. You look dumb. You really do. You look dumb. You look dumb. But again, we're not allowed to say that because then,
you're being mean, Pride.
Yeah, I'm being mean. So, if you think I'm being mean, with all due disrespect, please do me a favor. Take your shoes off. Go outside. Go stub your toe. By the way, the Giants have finally released Kyle Rudolph. He was butthurt because he felt like he was going to be spotlighted more. The Giants were like, LOL. He appeared in 16 games, caught 26 passes for 257 receiving yards and a touchdown. He is not going to retire. He believes at 32 years of age, he can still go out and help somebody. I also believe one day I will grow up and be 6'10", and will be a first-round draft pick. We all have our own delusions, Kyle. We all have them.
Where's he going to end up at?
I'm gonna put it to you this way: Bill Belichick signs him, I might have to take a sabbatical. I'm about to take another sabbatical.
I don't see. Honestly, I agree with you. I don't see where there's going to be a lot of value for him on the market.
None.
Yeah, I don't either.
By releasing him, the Giants are saving $5 million in cap space, and they're taking a $2.4 million hit in dead money. So, still positive. It's still a positive net, but
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph is definitely. I think he's definitely lived out past his prime. And New York, it's good for New York that they're clearing cap money because, quite honestly, they need to. I mean, they need to clear a lot more. Like Saquon Barkley, I'm probably looking for draft picks for him. I mean, whatever it is you can get, man. Because honestly, I think right now the New York Giants, whether people want to admit it or not, are in complete rebuild mode.
Yes, yeah, at least they should be. God knows if they're gonna. God knows if they will. But I hope, because at some point, because I've said this before, and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow, but the New York head coaching job for the Giants, it's not as bad as everyone's making it out to be. It's not hard. It's really not. Like it's not difficult. It's not hard. It's not perplexing. Like the only people who say it's hard are just frankly dummies. Simple. You just get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
The roster you have now won't even win at best, you're not winning the division with the roster you have.
So you can't win the East, and the East has been one of the worst divisions.
Exactly. So if you can't win the division, because supposedly this was, you know what I mean? If you can't win the division, what are you going for? And it's not like you can make any moves because your cap situation is horrible.
Yeah, they get them and get them in.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna have to move on. You're gonna have no choice but to move on. You have, whether you like it or not, you have to blow everything up.
You think they're going to keep Jones?
No, well, are they going to? No, but I think it's dumb because there's no better option.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If you pick up his 5th year, it's cheap. It's not.
I thought Dable was going to try to possibly see if he could keep him or transform him or develop him or whatever before they cut him. I could see them trying to maybe develop him, maybe give him 1 year to try to develop. But if not, it doesn't work, then they cut him.
Right. Which again, not bad. But I would keep him for 1 year, just one. Let's see if we can make it work. Let's see how we go from there. And then if he plays bad again, fine, whatever. Let him rock.
If he could cut down his turnovers.
And to be honest, that's really the only problem. But again, the issue with it is the reason he feels like he has to do so many turnovers is just because they don't give him opportunities to go long. So the few times he can go long, instead of being smart and just being like, all right, whatever, he's just like, he's like full send. Because he's like,
I can throw this one deep.
Yeah, because in his mind, he's like, when's my next chance? I'm gonna have to throw the ball past 7 yards. Yeah. When's my next opportunity?
Yeah, his offensive coordinators haven't done him no justice at all.
And this is what I was saying. Like last year, you shouldn't have cared about your record. What you should have done is just let the leash off of Daniel Jones and see what you have with him. Do you have a guy that you can build off of, or did you waste a draft pick? This should have been the time. You shouldn't have to pick up his option to find out. You should find out before his option.
Yeah. Right.
But to pick up his option to find out, again, I'm relaxing because I got William Stephen Belichick, the man who I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to hit threes or bring up some D. Pause. But this man, he got it. And my quarterback, Michael McCorkle-Jones. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Success, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard. It's hard being successful. It's hard.
No. Hey, let's be in your case, it's kind of lucky to be successful this year because let's be honest. Had the 49ers drafted McCorkle, you were not having this conversation because you probably would have had to take a flyer on Trey Lance. I mean, seriously, the fact that Mac Jones slid all the way down to where you guys were, to me, was really kind of crazy. I could not believe how far he slid down.
The fact that the NFL coaches
let him
slide down to the New England Patriots is baffling.
What happened, Chris?
I said the fact that the NFL coaches let Jones slide all the way down to the Patriots is baffling to me.
Yeah.
How are you going to let Jones or Belichick get Jones?
Guess what, boys? In 3 years. Within 3
years.
years.
You better send a nice gift card to the 49ers organization, Pride.
Nah, they get what they get. Listen, bro, I'm chilling. In 3 years, Michael McCorkle-Jones, he gonna be an MVP, have a Super Bowl ring, and be a Super Bowl MVP.
We shall see. We shall see.
I already saw it. I already saw it. Hold on, baby girl. Give daddy 1 second. This has been ASAP in the morning. I was trying to close the door earlier, and like my son refused. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then like my daughter literally just kicked the door open, and I just saw her little ponytail just like bounce around the room. And she's like next to me. She's like, hi, and I'm like, hi, how are you? Okay, and now she just sat down. And I'm just like, all right, cool.
So you're not keeping me out. Let me tell you what's going to really happen.
I'm like, live your life. I'm like, shoot your shot, kid. But this has been ASAP in the morning. We'll be back here tomorrow, 10 a.m., 9 Central, talking all things sports. I do want y'all to be in here on Friday because we're going to talk about Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. I'm going to give my thoughts on that. And Chris, if you're not here, on Monday, it will be a Slander the Colts episode. So for your safety and well-being, you better be here.
I'll be here Friday.
Yeah, you better. On behalf of Jay McLovin and Chris, it's your boy Pride. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Until then, y'all know what to do. Be safe.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're out in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.